So thank you to everyone who's been to the new site. Christopher says, which first-class structures do you think help the national side the most and which hinder the side the most? Well, the West Indies would probably hinder the most because it's so short and, it's all compacted in one area and there isn't a lot of it. So it's not an ideal one. England has a lot of advantages and a lot of disadvantages. I think it does grind out their cricketers a little bit. Just so much cricket, so many days of the week are played, have cricket. But for an overseas player who only does that once or twice, it allows you to get, play a lot of cricket and really work on your game quickly. But it doesn't work as well for the actual players, unfortunately, themselves. I think the South Africa and Australian, I like South Africa's structure of having the sort of provisional and then a franchise level. And with South Africa's wickets getting a little bit more varied, spin coming in a little bit more, perhaps that also gives them a bit of an advantage. Australia now play some of their cricket on outgrounds. That second 11 competition, I think Australian cricket was at its absolute best when the second 11 competition was really, really strong, and you had like 31-year-old, bank workers still trying to play one game for Victoria. And I don't think it's as strong, but it's a really good structure. And also, the one thing I would say about the Australian structure and the South African structure, and probably the New Zealand structure, is that they very much mimic how you play test matches. There are gaps in between, which allows for everyone's bodies to, recover a little bit more. Whereas some of the other first-class tournaments are a little bit more packed into tighter schedules at times. And so you don't always get that chance. So yeah, probably Australia, South Africa, New Zealand off the top of my head. I don't think none of them are perfect. The perfect situation, of course, would be for you to have like a permanent A team and maybe even a B team traveling around at all times. The B team would be maybe, let's say, under 26, under 27 with a couple of senior players dotted in. And the A team would just be whatever the next best team is. But I'm not sure anyone's ever going to be able to do that again with the way that cricket is heading with franchise leagues and everything else. But that would be the more ideal thing because most players are pretty good at playing at home, right? What you really want to do is train them to play away from home. And I would say that at its best, that was one thing that the West Indies cricket did very well, just because their pitches are so varied from place to place, that you got experience on dust bowls, you got experience on low bounce, you got experience on hyper bounce, you got experience on green tops, all these different, and a lot of flat wickets as well. Yeah, a lot of good things in traditional West Indies cricket, but it's just probably not enough games all kind of in one part of the year is not ideal.